He took her to the art gallery the next day. There she skimmed through the beautiful paintings decorating the walls. She marveled at the collection of sculptures, at the coloration of splashed paint on canvas. He walked behind her, explaining what she did not understand. They walked into the section of pictures, an array of glassed images nailed to walls. The bright light glittered on the frames, creating sharp sparkles. The first frame she saw was the picture of the sun, a half-rising sun partly hidden in a thick gathering of the blue sky, the clouds scattered across the edges of the frame. It reminded her of her father's calendar, a souvenir he had kept from the Civil War. She remembered the way her mother folded that calendar until the half-sun disappeared before tucking it carefully in his grave as they cried and watched from behind. She missed her father. She missed the crudity he expressed at mornings when he listened to the news on his old and shaky radio. He was always angry. She missed him but somehow was relieved he was dead, not to see what his beloved daughter have become, a jobless 10 years after school, unmarried, lost in this city, romancing a familiar picture in the company of a stranger. Education brought the knowledge, not the jobs, she discovered. She moved on, ignoring the lined pictures until she stood in front of a sketch of Fela raising his arms high, his fists clenched tightly, an elegant black and white painting that stood out in the crowd and somehow demanded attention the most. The painter had painted Fela so perfectly that NNENNA had fallen in love with it at first sighting. The painter added so much flesh to the man than he was in real life. Fela was lean and so the painting disappointed her. "You know Fela?" Paul asked from behind. He had noticed her staring a little keenly at Fela. "I know he died of AIDS," she said and wished he understood the sarcasm, her quick attempt at it. She knew Fela, but only through the stories in her school history books. "You know quite a lot," he teased. "But that is rubbish, total rubbish. Fela did not die of AIDS. That's just what they want you to believe." Did his brother not say it himself? The doctor, whatever. Paul loved Fela's music. NNENNA would learn months later, when she moved in with him. He listened to Fela at evenings after work, smoking his fat cigarettes, dancing and calling on her to join him. On Sundays, he took her to clubs on the island where they listened to Fela's music in dim halls. It was on one of those Sundays that she met and shook hands with the minister, a short, big-bellied man who stared too much at the space between her breasts. "Paul told me he had a girlfriend, but he didn't tell me she was this gorgeous," the minister said, and laughter rose in the hall. The joke was not funny, it wasn't even a joke, didn't seem or sound like one to her, but it came from a minister's mouth, so laughter echoed in the hall. In the middle of their brief conversation the minister said, "So tell me, what do you do, beautiful lady?" The question irritated her more than the minister did. When she told him she had not gotten a job yet, the minister said, "Why don't you come to my office tomorrow? Let me see what I can do for you. A beautiful girl like you should not be jobless." Haba. There was a mischievous smile on the minister's face. The way he sucked his lips as he spoke made her uncomfortable. Later when she told Paul about it, he dismissed her quickly, as though she were a little child. "The man was just being jolly," he said. "Didn't you see the way he was staring at my breasts? I know the man, he means no harm. I think you should see him." "I will not see him. I will not go and see a man who looked at my breasts like that," she said and went inside, shutting the door behind her. They did not speak until the next morning.